Hello lovely people, it's Nicola back in the Stitches and Slapdashery sewing room. I was hoping to show you some quilting this week, but as it turned out, the week got away from me and I ended up doing something else completely. Today, I am going to visibly mend my jeans. They got a big rip in them and I very nearly embarrassed myself at work. It wasn't until I got home from a shift that I realized that I had a very large rip in the butt of my jeans. So I'm going to spend some time mending those so that I can still wear them because I really love those jeans. And then I'll come back and talk to you a bit about what's been going on this week. I really love these jeans. They are wide leg jeans from Costco. I bought 2 identical pairs and I wear them to work all the time. And I also wear them pretty much all the time I'm not at work as well. And I got home from work the other day and I realized that there was a hole in my butt. Yep. I sat down on the couch and I had a little bit of an itch, so I reached around to scratch and my finger went straight through the hole. So the hole runs all the way down the side of this pocket. Luckily, there were still a few threads holding everything together, so it wasn't a gaping hole, and I was able to fuse some medium weight woven fusible onto the back of that quite easily without worrying about the edges not matching up. So this is, it's like a Pellon SF101, or this may be the generic version, I cannot remember. But I always got a few little bits. I don't throw away my little bits because you just never know when they might come in useful. So the plan today is to do some embroidery over this to hold it all together. Now I didn't realize until I turned these inside out to put this fusible on that there's actually more wear right here too. This was also pulling apart and it's quite thin even further down there. So what I did was I put the fusible not only on there but also over here. I did consider using just a thin non-woven, but I thought that that might too easily tear. It's not that this is under a huge amount of strain. These are fairly loose-fitting jeans. So that it's not under a huge amount of strain, but I just wanted it to be as strong as it could possibly be. So I thought today you could come along with me while I fix this piece here. This bit down here, probably not going to be quite the same sort of visible mending, maybe a bit more subtle because of where it is. But this, I think, we could do some nice embroidery on that. I just need to find something to put inside there so that I don't catch the back layer when I'm sewing. So I think this might be a bit predictable, but I thought maybe I'd start with leaves and flowers. Why not? It would be cute to have leaves and flowers on my jeans. I might need to turn it this way so that I can actually sew it in the correct direction. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I've put a pad of paper back there so I don't accidentally go through 2 layers. I think I might just do, I guess I need to work across this. It's going to be a bit of a push through those extra layers. I think I'll grab a thimble as well. I think to keep things simple, I might just start with a running stitch. Oh, of course, I've got a tangle right from the get-go here. Right from the get-go. Just to hold everything together. I don't think I'm going to go through all of the layers on that. Actually, I can just sew into the pocket and not go all the way through. trying to make do without a thimble because I really don't enjoy using them. The trouble with Costco is you can find something that you really like, and by the time you realize it's one of your favorite things, they don't have it anymore and they're never getting it back in again. It's quite annoying. And then there are other things which they always seem to have. But yeah, I know fashions change with jeans, but the reason I'm wearing these wide leg ones is not for fashion. It's because they're so comfortable. I really, really like them. There's plenty of room to move. There we go, that's just a little bit of running stitch in two directions. And now I think I could probably add some leaves. The leaves are super easy. You just make a loop and then you go back into that spot where the thread comes out. Come out there, making sure you've got that loop held on, and then down into fabric. So it's so easy. Just a loop back through the same spot it came out of, come up about 1/4 of an inch away, making sure you're catching that thread, and then down through that to make sure you're catching it again. Makes a nice little leaf. And if you do something like that in a circle, you get a flower. I'm just using basic embroidery thread, DMC embroidery thread. And I have 3 strands on my needle. On the needle? In the needle? Now I need to figure out what colour. Am I going to go for light colours, dark colours? What ones that stand out pretty well? Ooh, I like this one. So I was wrong. I'm not using 3 strands, I'm using 2. I just went to reach for my 3rd piece of lime green and I thought, wait a second, I can't get 3 3-strand pieces out of one piece of skein. So there's still a lot of gaping here, because obviously I've not done too much stitching on it yet. So I think I'm going to try doing a little bit more sewing right across the break. It gets a little trickier when it's right through that pocket. Where shall I start? I think I'll start right there. I'm going to start over to one side of the break. I need to get my other thimble. This one I think is too big and it just keeps falling off my finger and annoying me. This one is slightly too small. All right. I think I'm just going to try doing like a little starry flower or something. Just to hold the raw edges together. There, it just looks like a little asterisk. After I did these messy asterisky things, I did a running stitch in the pink up to here, and then I decided to do some French knots over on the edge of this pocket. I'm sure I'm going to add at least one more colour on this before I consider it done, because this is probably not quite strong enough yet, but I'll give it a tug to check when I think I've had enough. Something very satisfying about doing French knots. I'm trying to just work into the pocket itself and not go through. Yeah, I think it's okay. That lime and that pink together, I think, are really pretty. Will I still wear these to work after this? I don't know. I don't see why not. The back of the jeans is not usually very visible when I'm wearing my work vest over the top of my usual t-shirt or whatever. It's a very good thing I was wearing a long shirt on Friday and I didn't walk around the store showing off my underwear. Seeing as I've still got all this pink left after doing my French knots down here, I'm going to do some more of these petal type things up this side, and then I'm going to pick a third colour. When I pull on this, it's still pulling apart a teeny tiny bit between those asterisk flowers. So I want to add a bit more strength. Just auditioning some colours to go for my third one. I don't know if I like that. That's not very exciting. I think it's going to be the lavender one. Still not sure what I'm going to do with it. I'll just split it and figure that out. You can see what the stitching looks like on the back there. Gone through the interfacing as well as the denim. So that should hopefully hold it pretty strong. But I will just add some extra bits. I'm going to start at the bottom and just weave my way up between the little pink flowers. I think I might do a back stitch. Instead of just doing a running stitch, I'll do a back stitch, which will be, in theory, twice as strong. Yeah, I do not like wearing a thimble. I might skip over where there's a little loopy stitch though. Just try not to cover it up. This isn't the tidiest of stitching, I have to say. I'm living down to my slapdash name again. But then no one's going to be looking that closely at it, are they? I think that's enough stitching. I've got, let's show you close up. I did the green and then I did the pink, and then with the lavender I wove through there with the running stitch, now the back stitch, and then went back down and added French knots on that side. I'm pretty pleased with that. So I've got some grey blue on the needle now, and I'm going to do some really basic, less obvious stitching in this area here, and I'll show you that when it's done too. So with this section I just did running stitches back and forth and then crossways, trying to catch into the thick part down here and also the seam here so it wasn't pulling on the weak area. So hopefully these are wearable enough now that I won't embarrass myself out in public. So there they are. Pretty bit of stitching. See if I can hold them up better. A little bit better than having a hole, right? That was a really big split down there. I've never had jeans tear in that spot before. Usually they wear out on the thigh seams, or the inner thigh seams, or just right where all the four seams meet in the crotch, if you know what I mean. There's no better way to say it, really. So that was quite the surprise. But I think I made the best of it. And then for this bit here, just a little bit of reinforcement right in here, and I think I'll be able to wear them again. I'm going to have to check the other ones that I currently have on, which are the exact same kind, and I bought them the exact same time as well, just to make sure those ones aren't about to bust out as well. A few other things to talk about today. Thought I'd leave it till the end. The chatty bit comes at the end today. Firstly, I have to say a huge thank you to one of my lovely followers who sent me a gift this week. Now, I don't know if you've been here for a while, but you might remember that I received this set of embroidery needles from a lady called Joan in the UK, months ago. Might have been last year. And they have been so useful. I have used them all the time. And then this week, I got a gift from her in the mail, completely unexpectedly. And I was so touched by it because she even remembered that August is my birthday month. So she wished me a happy early birthday. The card that came with it has, of course, a toadstool on it because, you know, I love toadstools. And the little kit, which is a felt decoration kit, also has a toadstool on it. Isn't that just perfect? It's a little kit with felt shapes, an instruction sheet, stuffing beads, sequins, ribbon, threads, needle, and a plastic needle. You just need to add scissors and glue. That is so awesome. I love it, love it, love it. And it also came with another set of needles, also John James, Pebble. I love the ones that are packaged like this. They're so useful. The ones that come with, you know, that black paper and they're just folded with a bit of cardboard around them, they don't last 5 minutes around here. So to have something like this, which holds them so safely, it's marvelous. So thank you so much, Joan. I really appreciate it. That was the high point of my week. Another thing I've been doing this week is quite a bit of festival admin. There's 3 festivals this summer, which I am helping with on the silent auction side of things. And I spent, I think, 4 hours on my laptop last night on a spreadsheet. And spreadsheets are not my favorite thing. They're definitely not my favorite thing at all. So I had a splitting headache by the end of the night. And of course, I went to bed late. I didn't go to bed till nearly midnight. So that didn't do me much good. Part of the reason for the splitting headache could have been the smoke in the air. We have had so many fires in BC again this year. And in the central Okanagan, we have a very large lake. And there's a major city at the north end, one at the south end, one in the middle, and some other various small communities around. Well, the road that runs up the west side of the lake, they had a relatively small fire start about a week ago. And then a little bit later on, they had a major fire right at the northern tip of the lake. And that was huge, is huge. It's still burning, and it has, I believe, destroyed property already. And so that road's closed. Then last night, there was a really, really, really crazy big fire, just blew out of nowhere. It started near Summerland. Now, Mr. Stitches and I just went for a swim and a cup of coffee in Summerland just on Wednesday. And we love going down there. It's such a lovely little town. And the beach is amazing. It's sandy and the swimming is clear. There's no weed, there's no pebbles. It's a bit of a drive, so we don't go down there too often, but we really love it. Well, right now, the whole town is evacuated. Overnight, the fire grew, I think, to about 9,500 hectares. It's huge, and it's really, really burning hot. and it's jumping, like it jumped the highway over to towards the lake. There's a really wide highway that runs down near Summerland. It's about 6 lanes wide, but the fire is jumping over because embers are being pushed ahead of the fire. And so even when you think it's not that close, it comes closer really quickly. So I'm really thinking about all the people who are currently displaced by the fire, and of course all the animals as well. I'm sure there's many who haven't been able to get out of the way in time, and so it's just awful. There are 2 animal sanctuaries down there. There's one called Stars Piggly Wiggly, and the lady who runs that is called Faith, and I know Faith quite well. I bump into her a lot in the circles we mix in. And there's Critter Aid as well. So yeah, sending them all the best vibes this week. I think they managed to get most of their animals out, but I believe it's possible that Faith, I heard through the grapevine that Faith may have had to leave some of her pigs behind, and just hope they would be okay. But I don't know if there's any chance of that. It's been pretty awful. Phew. Yeah, that's terrible. So at the moment, we're just grateful that we seem to be in a little bit of a safe spot in between those 2 or 3 fires where we are. And just, yeah, keeping everything crossed that the wonderful firefighters and planes and helicopters, water bombers, skimmers, all that will do their job as they always do, and keep us all as safe as possible. So what else have I been doing? I've been playing with paper. I'm not entirely happy with how things turned out, but I'll show you what I got. Very, very, very sad news from someone I know. Their spouse died unexpectedly this week. They had an accident, and unfortunately, they did not recover from it. It was awful, 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 awful. And this person is about our age, right? Just when you're looking forward to retirement and you're thinking of all those lovely things you can do with your spouse when you haven't got work getting in the way. And this happens. Awful. So I thought I might make a card. I came down here thinking I might make a card for them. And then I thought maybe I'd make a journal. And I thought how nice that might be for maybe them to have a notebook that they could write in memories of their spouse, or maybe write in memories to give to the grandchildren, so that when they want to talk to the grandchildren about that person, they could share those lovely memories of them. So I started something, and I had this amazingly wonderful box from a box of tea that Mr. Stitches had ordered. It was a really sturdy cardboard. And I made these covers. And I used a map, an Okanagan map, to cover the front, and some scrapbooking paper to cover the back. And I was really happy with it so far. So far, so good. And then I made some. No, I didn't make signatures. I did individual pages, because what I wanted to do was a Japanese stab binding. I wanted to do individual pages. I had everything ready. I put this together with the pages and realized that Japanese stab binding was not going to work because it's too rigid. And for this sort of the binding I wanted to do, you need a flexible cover. And I'd already punched the darned holes in there, hadn't I? So I tried it with like a cereal box cardboard instead, and I made this whole thing and got it bound and everything. These are the pages that I planned to go in with the more rigid cover. The first page has a little pocket, a clear pocket from a lanyard. And I thought, wouldn't it be great to maybe put the photograph of the deceased person into the front? Possibly. And then I just used copy paper or printer paper, and then added in a few little bits of coloured paper in sort of muted tones that went with the colour scheme of the map I'd used. So it was looking pretty good, but then what I needed to do, at some point, I had to do this. I had to bend this cover back just to make it so that the book could open and be used. If I didn't do it, the recipient would have had to do it. But when I did it, I got some creasing here. I don't like it. It's creased. I probably didn't plaster it with enough glue stick. Maybe it's because there was a little bit of an unstuck part there, and that's why it started to stick up a little bit and it creased. So I'm not 100% happy with that, not for a gift. I'd use it for myself, and I think I'm going to have to use it for myself now. And I did consider maybe finding something that would stick down here to cover up the lumpy bits, but I don't know. I think I'm just going to leave it as is and, yeah, keep it. So I now have these pages, or should I say this cover, with the holes in, and I have folded up some signatures. I've got six signatures, 5 signatures. That's just a loose piece of paper right now. So I folded five signatures of copy paper, and what I have to do yet, obviously, is I still have to trim them because they are far too tall for the cover. So at some point I will trim all of the excess off and I will do a Coptic binding on it. I'll probably have to look that up again because I kind of know the principle, but I'm not sure if I've done it before. But I think you have to go from the cover, you go into a hole in the spine there, you go inside and out, and then come out and into this thing, and then around and back in, and then up. And you end up with this really cool little chain effect in the 3 places. You can have more than 3, but I've already got my 3 holes. So you have 3 little chain effect things where it's visible stitching and it's a flexible spine, so it works perfectly with a rigid cover. So that was my rather unsatisfactory journal project this week. Hasn't been particularly productive. I still have my pile of Kaffe facet squares that I cut last week and stuck in a pile with their row numbers on. Haven't touched them since. So hopefully by the time I see you next week, I will have some sewing done. The good news is I only have 1 shift this week, and then I have a whole week booked off because I was thinking that when I booked it that I might go to the festival in Victoria this time of the year. I decided not to go. So I have a whole week at home. And right now, with the air being so smoky, it feels like you're sitting right in the middle of a campfire. Being inside in the air conditioning is actually really nice. Yes, it's not even walking weather. They say you should stay indoors and don't do anything strenuous. And yeah, breathing that smoke is just miserable. It irritates your eyes, it irritates your lungs. It's no fun. So I will do a workout indoors today and call that enough. Mr. Stitches still has a gym membership, so he can go there and get his cardio in, but I'm going to have to do it at home. So thanks for being here today. I really appreciate you. And I will see you next time with something else. Have a great week. Bye for now.